I can't make it through the night." The tiny whimper cut through the storm as rain hammered the empty Montana highway. A soaked German shepherd huddled against the curb, her eyes wide, filled with fear, glancing toward the 3 shivering pups crammed into a soggy cardboard box beside her. The wind clawed at the trees lining the roadside, whipping branches across the slick asphalt and carrying the scent of wet pine and cold earth. Every drop of rain a drumbeat on the hood of Marcus Hale's truck as he rounded the bend, boots crunching on gravel, heart thundering, the glow of his headlights catching the glint of wet fur and amber eyes that seemed to plead directly to him. The pups' cries rising above the storm in a fragile chorus of desperation, each whine echoing through the emptiness, tugging at something deep in his chest. Marcus stopped, hands gripping the steering wheel, taking in the sight of the mother dog trembling violently, her ribs faintly visible under matted fur, paws sinking into mud-soaked soil, ears flat against her head as if bracing for another blow from the weather. And he felt a pang of urgency unlike any he had known in years of fieldwork, a need to act faster than thought itself. He swung the truck door open, the wind immediately biting at his skin, and waded through the knee-deep puddles toward her, boots slipping slightly on the slick ground, the smell of wet dog and earth filling his senses. And when she looked up again, her gaze met his, pleading not just for herself but for the tiny lives pressed into the box at her side, the rain dripping from her whiskers, forming little rivulets along her muzzle, every hair plastered flat with the cold. Marcus crouched, careful to make no sudden movement, his breath fogging in the chilled air, and murmured, "It's okay. I've got you." And in that instant she hesitated, then with a staggering step, leaned into him, weight heavy, wet fur clinging to his chest, paws scrabbling for traction in the mud as he wrapped his arms around her, the puppies squirming weakly, their tiny bodies warm despite the chill, the storm intensifying around them, thunder rumbling in the distance as Marcus took a careful step backward, pulling her and the box of pups toward the safety of his truck, heart hammering, rain soaking every inch of him, eyes locking with the mother dog's amber gaze, reading the trust and desperation there, the first fragile flicker of hope sparking in her expression, the world reduced to the sound of raindrops, the faint cries of the pups, and the pounding of his own pulse, every second stretching taut with the weight of what might happen next, the distant mountains shrouded in mist and fog, headlights cutting through the gray sheet of rain as he carried them toward warmth and shelter, and in the pause between thunderclaps, the mother dog's soft whine seemed almost like a whisper of gratitude, a promise that she would follow, that she would trust, and Marcus felt a quiet resolve settle into his chest, knowing that this night, drenched and storm-tossed, might still hold a miracle. Marcus Hale slid open the truck door, rain slapping against his jacket, and carefully lifted the mother dog into the back seat, her body trembling but trusting, the 3 puppies still nestled in the damp cardboard box beside her, tiny whimpers rising above the storm. Headlights cut through the gray curtain of rain, illuminating the slick road ahead, puddles reflecting distorted streaks of light, and every drop of water seemed to echo the urgency in his chest as he started the engine, the warmth of the truck slowly countering the chill of soaked fur and wet clothing, and he spoke softly. "We are almost there. Hold on." His voice calm yet resolute, as the mother dog leaned into him, tail wagging faintly, a glimmer of hope flickering in amber eyes. The pups stirred in response, pressing closer to one another, and Marcus felt the weight of responsibility more acutely than he had on any deployment, each second stretching taut with possibility, the rhythmic patter of rain on the roof, mixing with the quiet whines of the small family. He navigated through the winding back roads, mud splashing the tires, the wind pushing against the truck with stubborn force, and every glance in the rearview mirror reminded him of the fragile lives depending on his focus, the mother dog occasionally glancing back, her expression a mixture of caution and trust, the pup's tiny paws wriggling in anticipation of warmth and safety. Finally, he spotted the dim glow of a small veterinary clinic ahead, its sign flickering in the storm like a beacon, the promise of shelter and care just a few hundred feet away, and he eased the truck onto the gravel lot, tires crunching against loose stones, sending up sprays of wet earth, and the mother dog shifted slightly, as if sensing the end of their perilous journey, nose nudging the box gently, prompting one tiny pup to let out a soft squeak, eyes brightening with the first hint of relief. Marcus killed the engine and held the door open, rain drenching him as he carefully carried the mother dog to the clinic entrance, her paws pressing against his chest, every step measured and deliberate, ensuring the puppies would not be left behind. The smell of wet fur and earth mingling with the faint antiseptic scent emanating from the clinic, a stark contrast to the storm outside. He set the mother dog gently on the wet pavement and lifted the box of pups, balancing them with care, and the dogs, sensing warmth and safety, allowed themselves a small moment of ease, tails flicking, eyes wide but calmer, and Marcus crouched beside them, brushing the soaked fur from the mother dog's face, whispering words of comfort. And for a fleeting instant, the storm seemed to soften, wind easing, rain lessening, as if acknowledging the first spark of trust and relief between man and animals. A quiet, cinematic pause before the next chapter of care and recovery would begin, leaving a lingering sense that even in the harshest conditions, small acts of mercy could kindle hope and reshape destiny. The clinic doors opened with a soft squeak, a warm light spilling onto the wet pavement as Marcus carried the mother dog inside, her amber eyes wide with cautious trust. The three puppies nestled safely in the box at his feet, their tiny cries muffled by the sound of rain dripping from the roof above. Inside, the faint antiseptic scent mixed with the earthy aroma of wet fur, and Marcus set the mother dog down gently on the padded floor, feeling the tension slowly ease from her body as she shifted to look at him, tail giving a tentative wag, the pups peeking out from their box, one paw stretching forward as if testing the safety of this new place. The clinic was quiet except for the occasional murmur of the staff preparing towels and warm blankets, and Marcus crouched to stroke the mother dog's soaked fur, whispering words of reassurance while he listened to the faint heartbeat of life in each tiny pup, a rhythm that steadied his own pulse. The storm outside still hammering against the roof, but now softened by the barrier of the building, rainwater streaming down the windows in silvery sheets. A gentle voice called from the back. A tall veterinarian with careful movements approached, kneeling beside Marcus, her eyes soft but focused, checking the mother dog's condition with experienced hands, and Marcus felt a wave of relief as she nodded, her smile quiet but real, signaling that they had arrived in time, that the mother dog and her pups were safe for the first time in hours. Marcus adjusted the blanket around the box, tucking each tiny pup in so their bodies would stay warm, and the mother dog nuzzled each one in turn, a quiet sigh escaping her as if acknowledging that the danger had passed, eyes closing briefly before looking back at Marcus with a depth of gratitude that needed no words. Outside, the windows, lightning illuminated the clouds in soft flashes, shadows dancing across the room, and Marcus watched the mother dog settle onto the floor, the pups curling beside her, breathing slowly, warmth spreading through the small space, and he realized the gravity of the trust they had placed in him. A fragile bond formed in the rain and cemented by his care. He rose to gather more towels, laying them gently around the edges of the padded area, creating a small safe haven. Every movement deliberate, mindful of the fragility of the lives he was protecting. And as he did, he noticed the mother dog lifting her head to watch him, ears perked, amber eyes shining with something like hope, a quiet connection forming between them that needed no spoken promise. The pups shifted, one letting out a soft whimper as Marcus bent to touch its tiny head, their bodies relaxing at the reassurance. And he felt a swell of something he had not expected, a deep sense of purpose, a reminder of why he had responded to that desperate scene on the highway. Every drop of rain, every slippery step now worth the life saved and the trust earned. And as the storm outside began to ease, the first hint of dawn brushing the clouds in muted gold, Marcus knew this moment, small yet profound, was the beginning of a new chapter where care and courage intertwined, leaving the future open, full of possibilities, and a quiet invitation for the mother dog and her pups to continue their journey with him by their side. Morning light filtered through the frosted clinic windows, casting long, soft beams across the tiled floor where Marcus Hale knelt beside the mother dog and her pups, gently adjusting the blankets and towels around them, his fingers brushing damp fur with careful precision. the warmth of the room seeping into the soaked bodies and easing tension, the pups stirring, tiny paws stretching as they tested the safety of this new sanctuary, and the mother dog laying her head on Marcus's knee, Amber, eyes fixed on him with trust and gratitude, a subtle wag of her tail signaling relief and cautious comfort. Outside, the remnants of the storm left the asphalt glistening, droplets clinging to the edges of the windows, and a quiet hum of the early town began to filter through, distant birdsong blending with the muted sound of the clinic's air system, creating a serene rhythm that contrasted the chaos of the previous night. Marcus took a deep breath, scanning each pup in turn, noting the subtle rise and fall of their tiny chests, their small, soft whines interspersed with contented sighs as they snuggled closer to the warmth of the mother dog, her body curling protectively around them, and he felt a steadying calm, a sense of purpose reinforcing each movement as he gently adjusted a stray paw or wiped a damp muzzle, each action deliberate, careful, imbued with the awareness of the trust placed in him. A technician entered with a steaming cup of warm water and soft towels, moving with practiced care, her eyes softening as she knelt to assist Marcus, and together they ensured the pups were dry, warm, and secure, murmuring reassurances that seemed to resonate through the room. The mother dog responding with gentle nudges and soft whines, a quiet communion of understanding forming between human and animals. Sunlight intensified, streaming more fully through the windows, highlighting the rich tan and black hues of the mother dog's coat, the subtle brindle tones of the pups, and the golden undertones that reflected faintly in Marcus's own hair as he continued his careful ministrations. The room filled with the scent of warmth, wet fur, and faint antiseptic, blending into a comforting olfactory tapestry that anchored the scene in the present moment. Marcus stood to retrieve a small blanket from a nearby shelf, carefully tucking it around the box of pups, watching their small, trusting eyes and gentle movements, noting each subtle gesture as the mother dog shifted slightly, pressing closer to ensure her offspring remained safe, and he felt a swell of connection, the bond of caretaker and rescued forming with clarity, reinforced by every soft whine, every tentative paw movement, every trusting gaze. Outside, the first hint of wind stirred the leaves on distant trees, a gentle reminder of the world beyond the clinic. Yet within these walls, a small universe of care, attention, and hope thrived. The mother dog and pups nestled into warmth and security, eyes slowly closing as they relaxed into the safety provided. And Marcus allowed himself a moment to absorb the profound quiet of this recovery, the realization that the storm was behind them, and that the fragile miracle of life he had carried through the rain now rested safely in his hands, each heartbeat a testament to patience, courage, and the quiet rewards of steadfast attention. The scene a delicate balance of relief, hope, and the subtle anticipation of what would come next as they prepared for the day ahead, a world reborn within the confines of the small, sunlit clinic. Marcus Hale settled into a chair beside the padded area, the morning light now fully bathing the clinic in soft, golden hues, and watched as the mother dog shifted gently to check on each pup, her nose brushing over tiny furred bodies, reassuring them that they were safe, while the pups stirred, stretching their little legs and yawning, eyes blinking slowly as they became accustomed to the warmth and security of the room. Marcus reached for a clean towel and softly patted the damp fur of the mother dog, feeling the tension in her shoulders ease as she pressed closer to the box, a subtle wag of her tail indicating cautious comfort, and he murmured words of calm, his voice low and steady. "You are safe now, all of you." And she seemed to respond, ears flicking, amber eyes locking with his, a quiet understanding passing between them. Outside, the first faint sounds of the town reached the clinic, distant engines and footsteps blending with the soft drizzle still clinging to the eaves, a reminder of the world beyond. But inside, a small universe of warmth and care had taken hold, every breath, every movement measured and attentive. Marcus carefully adjusted the position of the box, ensuring each pup lay comfortably, their tiny chests rising and falling in rhythm, and the mother dog shifted her weight, nudging each one gently with her nose, a tender Instinctive choreography that reassured both the pups and Marcus that trust had been established, even in such a fragile moment. He leaned back slightly, observing the interplay of light and shadow across the mother dog's coat, rich shades of sable and black glistening with residual moisture, and noted the subtle twitch of the pup's ears, their alertness slowly giving way to a tentative calm. The storm now a distant memory, replaced by the soft warmth of blankets and the human presence beside them. Marcus allowed himself a quiet smile, recognizing the delicate balance of patience, attention, and empathy that had carried them from the roadside into this haven. And he knew that each gentle touch, each careful movement, reinforced the fragile bridge of trust between them. The mother dog lifted her head briefly, amber eyes reflecting the sunlight, and pressed her nose into the box, one small whine escaping her lips, a sound of relief and ongoing vigilance, while Marcus stroked her head, feeling the softness of her fur and the subtle rise and fall of her breathing, a tangible connection forming between them, a promise of care and safety. He shifted his focus to the pups, lifting one gently into his palm, feeling its tiny body quiver and then relax as he held it close, warmth spreading from his hands, a quiet heartbeat against his chest, each pup in turn receiving the same careful attention, their small sounds and movements creating a rhythm that Marcus could almost read, a language of trust and reassurance that needed no words beyond soft murmurs and gentle strokes. The clinic remained quiet, punctuated only by the soft rustle of towels and the occasional low whine from a pup, and Marcus continued his careful ministrations, adjusting blankets, patting fur, whispering assurances, every action deliberate, every glance observant, ensuring that each life under his care felt secure and protected. A delicate dance of human and animal instincts intertwined in a moment suspended between past chaos and present safety. Outside, the sun rose higher, casting longer shadows, highlighting the sheen of wet fur and the gentle curves of small bodies curled together. And Marcus felt a profound sense of calm, a quiet affirmation that the night of uncertainty had passed, leaving a room filled with warmth, trust, and the soft beginnings of recovery. The mother dog and her pups now resting with a tentative peace, and the bond between man and animals deepened, poised to carry them forward into the new day. The soft glow of morning deepened as Marcus Hale prepared a small feeding area for the mother dog and her pups, arranging shallow bowls of warm water and nourishing food, the steam curling gently in the cool clinic air, and the pups stirred immediately, their tiny legs stretching as they scrambled toward the new source of sustenance, sniffing curiously, tentative at first, then greedily, the mother dog watching closely, nudging one toward the bowl with her nose, her amber eyes reflecting both caution and trust, tail wagging softly as she monitored each movement. Marcus crouched beside them, guiding a small paw toward a bowl, whispering reassurance, and the mother dog responded with gentle whines and soft nudges, a quiet dance of encouragement, her ears flicking attentively to every sound in the room, the faint hum of the clinic blending with the rustle of blankets and the soft pads of paws on tile, creating a rhythm of life that was both fragile and persistent. Outside, the storm had fully passed, leaving drops of rain glittering on leaves and puddles reflecting the pale morning sun, the air crisp and filled with the scent of wet earth and pine. And Marcus glanced through the window, noting the contrast between the calm outside and the delicate recovery unfolding within, each breath, each motion charged with the weight of survival and care. He gently lifted a pup and placed it in a shallow dish, careful to support its tiny body, the warm liquid eliciting a tentative sip. The mother dog watching closely, tail sweeping the floor in subtle encouragement, and Marcus murmured softly, "Good girl, take your time," feeling a quiet sense of purpose anchoring every movement, a bond solidifying through attention, patience, and empathy. The other pups followed, encouraged by the first, their tiny bodies wobbling on unsteady legs, sniffing, licking, learning trust through this small act of nourishment. And Marcus adjusted blankets, tucking each pup safely and leaving the mother dog room to curl beside them, the warmth of their bodies radiating calm, the soft sounds of contented sighs filling the space. Marcus stood to fetch a clean towel, kneeling to dab the damp fur along the mother dog's back and head, noting the subtle relaxation in her posture, the flick of ears, the softening of eyes, and each small gesture reinforced the connection, the shared understanding of protection and care, the room holding a quiet sense of relief that stretched and lingered. Sunlight intensified, catching the damp fur of the mother dog, highlighting the rich hues of sable and black, and Marcus ran a hand along her back, feeling the warmth and strength beneath the wet coat, each heartbeat a steady rhythm, mirrored in the small chests of the pups as they settled near her. The world outside reduced to the soft patter of residual rain, the distant chirp of birds beginning to emerge from shelter, and within, the clinic felt like a small sanctuary where trust had been earned and bonds quietly formed. The mother dog and her pups beginning to understand safety, warmth, and the steady presence of Marcus, whose careful, attentive actions had turned a night of desperation into a morning filled with hope and the promise of continued care and connection. Marcus Hale leaned against the edge of the padded area, letting the gentle warmth of the clinic seep into his bones, and watched as the mother dog lifted her head to check on each pup in turn, amber eyes softening as she nudged one tiny body closer to her chest, ears flicking to every sound. The soft hum of distant machinery and faint chirping from outside, creating a rhythm that matched the quiet rise and fall of their breathing. He adjusted a blanket beneath the box, making sure each pup had room to stretch and nestle, and their small whines and gentle nudges created a delicate symphony of trust, every movement affirming that they felt secure, the bond between man and animals solidifying in subtle gestures, soft sighs, and cautious but steady tail wags. Sunlight streamed through the large windows, glinting off damp fur, highlighting the rich variations of sable and black, and Marcus ran a hand along the mother dog's back, feeling warmth, strength, and the rhythm of her heart. Beneath his palm, a tactile reassurance that she was present, alert, and gradually easing into calm, while the pups pressed closer, their tiny bodies soft and pliant, trusting the care that surrounded them. He spoke in low tones, each word deliberate, gentle. "All of you are safe here, I promise." And the mother dog responded with a subtle nudge and a soft whine, ears lifting, eyes meeting his with recognition and a quiet sense of gratitude, while the pups shifted, stretching legs, exploring their immediate space. Tentative at first, then confident enough to sniff the blankets, their little noses twitching, exploring the scents that had become a signal of safety and warmth. Marcus observed the interplay of shadows and light as the morning deepened, noting the sheen of wet fur, the soft flicker of the pup's eyes, and the mother dog's steady gaze, a silent communication passing between them, one that did not require words, only presence, patience, and attention. He moved to fetch a small water dish, filling it carefully and placing it where the mother dog could drink comfortably without leaving the pups unattended, and she leaned forward, nose dipping into the shallow water, a gentle sigh escaping her, tail sweeping the floor, ears flicking with awareness, eyes returning to the box of pups to ensure all were accounted for, a quiet demonstration of her protective instincts beginning to relax in response to the secure environment. Marcus wiped a small damp spot from the edge of the box, brushing fingers over tiny bodies, and each pup responded with a soft movement, a paw twitch, a gentle whimper, a subtle sign of comfort, their fragile trust building with each passing second. The clinic itself seemed to settle into a slower pace. The soft tapping of shoes on tile, the gentle rustle of blankets, the distant hum of activity outside blending with the delicate sounds of contentment from the mother dog and her pups. A quiet affirmation that the night of uncertainty and fear had given way to a morning of safety, warmth, and the tentative beginnings of healing. Marcus felt a steadying calm, a quiet sense of purpose anchoring each motion, each touch, knowing that the trust he had earned would guide the family through this early stage of recovery. And as sunlight shifted across the floor, highlighting the small rise and fall of tiny chests, he allowed himself a brief, deep breath, acknowledging that the storm was behind them, and that the fragile miracle of survival was now unfolding in the calm embrace of the clinic, a gentle, cinematic moment of connection, resilience, and the quiet power of care. Marcus Hale sat quietly on the edge of the padded area, watching as the mother dog and her pups settled into the warmth, her amber eyes following every movement of the tiny bodies as they curled against her, a low, contented sigh escaping her, tail sweeping the floor in gentle arcs. The pups nestled close together, small whimpers interspersed with soft stretches and yawns, the subtle sounds of their bodies adjusting to comfort, creating a fragile symphony of calm, and Marcus allowed himself a deep breath, the weight of the past night's uncertainty slowly easing from his chest, replaced by a profound sense of responsibility and connection. Sunlight streamed in brighter now, casting long, soft shadows across the floor, highlighting the glistening wet fur of the mother dog, her sable and black coat rich and glossy under the early light, and the tiny pups, their fur soft and damp from morning care, eyes blinking and ears flicking as they began to explore the immediate surroundings with cautious curiosity, sniffing and nudging against each other as Marcus observed, guiding them gently with hands that steadied and reassured. The clinic remained serene, punctuated only by the soft hum of distant machinery, the faint patter of residual rain from the eaves, and the quiet shuffle of Marcus moving towels and blankets to ensure warmth and comfort, each motion deliberate, careful, and mindful of the trust placed in him. The mother dog lifting her head to watch his movements, ears twitching, eyes bright with awareness, every subtle gesture reinforcing the bond forming between them. Marcus reached for a small blanket and tucked it around the edges of the box, ensuring the pups had room to stretch, and the mother dog responded with soft nudges, pressing her nose gently against one tiny body, tail brushing the floor. The quiet intimacy of the moment emphasizing the fragile miracle of trust and security they were experiencing. He murmured softly, words low and steady, "You are safe now." And the mother dog lifted her head, amber eyes meeting his, a flicker of understanding passing between them, a silent affirmation that the long night of uncertainty had passed, and that warmth, care, and attention would continue to guide them forward. While the pups pressed closer, exploring the blankets and each other, small paws kneading softly, tentative yet confident, a demonstration of the gradual rebuilding of trust. Marcus adjusted his position, leaning forward to stroke the mother dog's back, feeling the subtle relaxation in her posture, the steadying rhythm of her breathing, and as the morning light shifted, illuminating the fine details of her coat and the tiny forms of her pups, he felt a swell of quiet pride and relief, the culmination of careful attention, patience, and empathy manifesting in the soft expressions of trust and comfort on their faces. Outside, the world beyond the clinic moved at its own pace, the remnants of the storm fading, leaving a clean, crisp scent in the air, but inside, a small universe existed where safety, warmth, and hope had taken root, the mother dog and pups now resting, eyes slowly closing, bodies settling into the secure embrace of blankets and human care. Marcus watching over them, heart steady, knowing that this moment of calm, connection, and recovery represented the turning point, the quiet miracle of survival and trust established, and the promise of more moments like this stretching into the new day, a delicate balance of attention, care, and anticipation for what would come next. Marcus Hale shifted closer to the mother dog and her pups, the morning light warming the clinic in soft, golden streaks, and noticed a small movement from one of the tiny pups, a faint twitch of a paw, eyes blinking open for the first time, signaling life and resilience. And his heart leapt with quiet relief, the previous night of uncertainty now giving way to this fragile miracle. He gently lifted the tiny body, holding it in the palm of his hand, feeling the warmth and the subtle pulse of life, and the mother dog lifted her head immediately, amber eyes wide with alertness and curiosity, sniffing the air, pressing her nose against the pup with a soft nudge, as if confirming its safety and silently teaching trust. Marcus placed the pup back in the box, adjusting a blanket around it, and the mother dog shifted, curling closer, tail sweeping gently, ears pricked, the other pups stirring in response to the reassuring presence of their mother, tiny whimpers mingling with soft breaths. A quiet rhythm forming as each life responded to the security now surrounding them. Sunlight intensified, catching the subtle sheen of wet fur on the mother dog, highlighting shades of sable and black, the small glimmers of warmth reflecting in the amber eyes of both mother and pups. And Marcus continued to stroke the mother dog's back, murmuring words of comfort and steady reassurance, his voice low and calm. "You are safe, all of you." The words carrying both promise and recognition of the trust they had placed in him. He noticed subtle signs of life across the box, a paw stretching, a soft nuzzle into the blanket, the pups beginning to explore gently, guided by the mother dog's calm presence, and the atmosphere of the room shifted, carrying the delicate weight of relief, connection, and trust built through patience, touch, and gentle attention. Marcus adjusted the edges of the blanket, making sure each pup had room to move, and the mother dog pressed her body closer, tail moving rhythmically, ears flicking at every sound. A quiet communication of approval and comfort. Eyes meeting Marcus's in a silent acknowledgement that the danger had passed and a new chapter of safety and care had begun. The distant hum of the clinic blended with the subtle sound of breathing and soft movements, creating a serene rhythm, punctuated by small whines of contentment and the occasional stretch or shift, and Marcus allowed himself to absorb the profound calm. The realization that the night of fear and uncertainty had transformed into this quiet, living moment of reassurance and hope. He rose slightly to adjust a towel beneath the mother dog, watching her press her head gently against the pup closest to her, tail flicking in subtle encouragement, each motion reinforcing the fragile bond and the trust that now existed, a delicate balance of care, attention, and instinct intertwined. Sunlight streamed fully across the floor, illuminating the mother dog's attentive gaze and the small, exploring pups, their tiny movements slow, careful, and trusting. And Marcus felt a deep sense of connection, knowing that these quiet moments of life, trust, and care were the true reward of the night's effort. A gentle affirmation that the journey toward healing, warmth, and security had truly begun, and that even the smallest signs of life could spark hope in the most fragile hearts, leaving the space filled with quiet anticipation, gentle care, and the subtle promise of continued recovery. The sunlight grew stronger, filling the clinic with a golden warmth that glinted off the mother dog's sleek, damp fur as she shifted to gently nudge each of her pups, guiding them with subtle movements, tails flicking softly, ears alert, a quiet energy of reassurance radiating through the small room. Marcus Hale crouched beside them, adjusting the blanket and murmuring softly, voice steady and calm, "You are safe here." And each pup responded with tiny stretches, soft whines, and tentative steps as they explored the immediate warmth of the padded area, their small bodies learning that comfort and security could exist beyond the roadside. He carefully lifted a pup into his palm, holding it against his chest, feeling the faint heartbeat, the soft fur brushing his jacket, and the mother dog leaned in, amber eyes meeting his, nose nudging the small body, a silent exchange of trust and recognition. And Marcus felt a profound calm, the quiet miracle of life manifesting in these subtle gestures, every movement deliberate, every sound a small affirmation of their growing confidence. The room held a soft rhythm of breathing, tiny paws kneading blankets, the mother dog shifting to curl more fully around her offspring, protecting and comforting them. And Marcus observed, noticing how the sunlight highlighted the depth of her sable and black coat, glistening in gold. The tiny paws of the pups reflecting a softness and vulnerability that reinforced the care required. He fetched a small shallow dish of warm water, placing it carefully near the mother dog while keeping an eye on each pup, and she lapped cautiously, ears flicking, eyes alert to his presence. Each sip measured, the pups watching, learning from her calm actions, a silent lesson in patience, trust, and safety. Marcus adjusted towels and blankets around the edges, creating a secure nest, the pups pressing closer to each other and their mother. A symphony of soft whimpers, sighs, and gentle nudges filling the space, and he felt a swell of quiet pride and relief, the culmination of careful attention, empathy, and the trust he had earned over the past hours manifesting in their peaceful acceptance of his presence. Sunlight streamed fully through the clinic windows, illuminating the gentle rise and fall of the mother dog's breathing and the subtle movements of the pups exploring the warmth around them. their tiny bodies relaxed, eyes brightening as they discovered safety. Marcus's voice low and continuous, speaking reassurance and calm, each word a thread weaving together the fragile bond between human and animals. The atmosphere was serene, punctuated only by the faint shuffle of Marcus's movements, the soft rattle of blankets, the occasional pup sigh, and the mother dog's steady vigilance, watching each motion, tail brushing the floor, ears flicking, amber eyes shining with cautious trust, and Marcus allowed himself a quiet exhale, recognizing the transition from fear to comfort, from uncertainty to hope. Outside, the storm was gone, leaving glistening wet streets and the faint aroma of pine and rain. But inside, a microcosm of life, trust, and care had taken hold. The mother dog and her pups settling into their warmth, breathing slowly, exploring gently, and Marcus observing, heart steady, knowing that this fragile, golden moment marked the beginning of recovery, resilience, and the quiet, unspoken promise that they would continue this journey together, each small movement, glance, and sigh reinforcing the bond and the possibility of what the day might bring. Marcus Hale remained close to the mother dog and her pups, observing as the mother gently nudged one pup after another, guiding them to stretch, shift, and explore the padded area with cautious curiosity, amber eyes bright, ears alert, tail sweeping the floor in soft arcs of reassurance. And Marcus responded with quiet murmurs, hands brushing lightly along fur, adjusting blankets and towels to create a small, secure space that encouraged comfort and confidence. The pups began to move more freely, exploring each other and the soft edges of the blanket, tiny paws pressing against the fabric, noses twitching as they discovered new scents, and the mother dog watched closely, lifting her head to check Marcus's movements, ears flicking at every sound. The soft hum of the clinic blending with the gentle rhythm of breathing and the subtle, contented whimpers of her pups, creating a delicate, living symphony of trust and calm. Sunlight poured through the windows, catching the sheen of the mother dog's damp coat and the tiny, soft fur of the pups, highlighting the delicate contrasts of black and sable and the glimmering warmth of life newly secured. And Marcus leaned closer, murmuring gentle reassurances, guiding a pup toward its mother's warmth, watching as the small body relaxed, settling against her chest with a quiet sigh, and the mother dog pressed closer in. Response, tail brushing softly, a subtle dance of protection and trust that filled the space with life and connection. Marcus adjusted the positioning of the blankets to ensure each pup had room to stretch without crowding, and the mother dog gently nudged a small paw with her nose, encouraging exploration while remaining close to the family. Eyes meeting Marcus's with a depth of understanding and gratitude. The connection between man and animals becoming more tangible with each careful, attentive gesture. He reached for a shallow dish of warm water, placing it near the mother dog while keeping a watchful eye on each pup, and she lapped cautiously, amber eyes flicking to him, tail wagging slightly, the pups observing, mimicking her movements with small, tentative licks, and Marcus felt the quiet weight of responsibility mixed with the satisfaction of watching life recover and trust being built step by step. The atmosphere of the room was calm, yet alive, punctuated by the soft sounds of breathing, gentle movements of paws against blankets, and the subtle exchange of glances between mother and pups. And Marcus continued to move deliberately, brushing damp fur, adjusting blankets, and speaking in low, steady tones, each word a thread reinforcing trust and comfort. The sunlight shifted, casting long, soft shadows across the padded area, highlighting each small gesture, tail flick, ear twitch, and the rise and fall of tiny chests, and Marcus allowed himself a quiet moment to appreciate the fragile, yet profound connection forming in the room, the bond of care, attention, and empathy creating a foundation for recovery and resilience. The mother dog and her pups now resting with a tentative sense of security, the small miracle of trust and life unfolding gently in the warm morning light, the rhythm of their movements, breathing, and subtle interactions carrying the promise of continued growth, safety, and the quiet strength of the bonds forged in patience and gentle human presence. Marcus Hale watched the mother dog stretch beside her pups, amber eyes scanning each small movement as she ensured all were nestled comfortably. And he felt the quiet satisfaction of having carried them through the night's storm, the weight of responsibility giving way to a soft, steady calm that filled the clinic with a gentle energy. The pups, now more active, explored the edges of their padded area, sniffing and nudging one another, tiny tails flicking with curiosity and growing confidence, while the mother dog shifted occasionally, nudging them back, curling her body to maintain warmth and proximity, her ears flicking at every sound, alert yet relaxed, and Marcus observed every subtle signal, noting the balance of vigilance and trust forming before him. Sunlight streamed more fully through the windows, illuminating the soft textures of fur and blankets, casting long, tender shadows across the floor, and the golden light highlighted the rich sable and black hues of the mother dog, the tiny sheen on the pups' damp coats, and the warmth radiating from their small, growing bodies, while Marcus adjusted a towel to ensure each pup had space to stretch comfortably, murmuring words of reassurance that seemed to resonate. The mother dog lifting her head to acknowledge his presence, eyes soft yet attentive, a quiet dialogue passing between human and animal. He leaned closer, brushing a gentle hand along the mother dog's spine, feeling the steady rhythm of her breathing and the gentle rise and fall of the pups pressed against her, the subtle warmth of their small bodies transmitting a sense of comfort and security, and Marcus allowed himself a slow exhale, the tension of the previous night melting into the steady presence of life thriving in front of him. The room was filled with soft, natural sounds, the gentle whines of contentment, the tiny paw taps on blankets, the mother dog's careful shifting, and Marcus's quiet murmurings, creating a rhythm of trust and reassurance that seemed to bind them together in this small sanctuary, a fragile ecosystem of care and attention nurtured through deliberate, patient action. Outside, the world moved at its own pace, the lingering scent of rain and pine mingling with the fresh morning air. Yet inside, the mother dog and her pups existed in a bubble of warmth and safety, exploring and resting with a growing confidence, ears twitching at the faintest sounds, tails flicking with tentative joy, amber eyes reflecting light and life. And Marcus felt the depth of connection between them, the silent acknowledgement of trust and protection flowing through each gesture, touch, and glance. He gently repositioned a pup that had rolled to the edge of the blanket, ensuring it was close to its siblings, and the mother dog immediately nudged it, curling her body slightly to maintain warmth, her gaze meeting Marcus's in a quiet, mutual recognition of care and shared responsibility, the pups responding to this reassurance with soft sighs and subtle movements that spoke of comfort, curiosity, and budding confidence. Sunlight continued to fill the room, highlighting the interplay of shadows and textures, the gleam of eyes, the gentle rise and fall of chests, the mother dog's protective posture, and the tiny explorations of the pups, creating a serene, cinematic tableau of resilience, recovery, and the quiet miracle of life nurtured by patience, attention, and steady, compassionate presence, a moment of grace suspended in time, fragile yet profound, where every gesture and breath signaled hope, safety, and the enduring power of trust between man and animals. Marcus Hale rose from the edge of the padded area, feeling a quiet satisfaction as he watched the mother dog curl protectively around her pups, amber eyes soft yet vigilant, and he adjusted the last of the blankets, ensuring each tiny body had warmth and space, the pups beginning to stretch and explore with growing confidence, tentative steps giving way to small, playful movements as their trust in this safe space became evident. Sunlight poured fully through the clinic windows, glinting off the mother dog's glossy sable and black coat, highlighting the subtle contours of her body and the delicate features of her pups, tiny whiskers twitching as they sniffed, paws kneading softly against the blanket. The room filled with a gentle rhythm of life and renewed energy. Marcus kneeling occasionally to brush a damp fur tuft from a pup or murmur softly to the mother dog, his voice low, steady, and soothing, a bridge of calm connecting human and animals in a way that needed no words beyond presence and care. The mother dog lifted her head, amber eyes meeting Marcus's, tail sweeping slowly, a small whine escaping her, a sound of acknowledgement and trust, and the pups responded with gentle nudges and tentative yips, exploring closer to her side, testing the warmth, learning the safety of touch, proximity, and attention, and Marcus felt a profound, quiet joy at witnessing the fragile miracle of life, trust, and healing that had emerged from the chaos of the night before. He moved around the area, placing a shallow dish of warm water and small, soft bedding closer to the pups, observing their reactions, the mother dog nudging each into a comfortable position, and he murmured, "Take your time, you are safe now," and the pups responded with soft sighs, tentative stretches, and exploratory sniffs, every movement reinforcing the bond of trust between the family and the man who had carried them to safety. Outside, the sun climbed higher, illuminating the glistening street and lingering droplets of rain on leaves, the scent of wet pine and fresh earth carrying faintly into the clinic. But inside, the room was a universe of calm, warmth, and life. The gentle rise and fall of tiny chests, the soft brush of fur against blankets, and the mother dog's steady vigilance creating a living tableau of recovery, patience, and quiet resilience. Marcus paused to take in the scene, the mother dog shifting slightly to adjust a pup, nose nudging its back, eyes meeting his in a silent conversation of gratitude, recognition, and mutual respect, while the other pups stretched and explored gently, their movements becoming more confident, their small whimpers and soft noises a subtle chorus of hope. The warmth of the room, the sunlight filtering through the windows, and the careful attentions of Marcus created a space where life, trust, and gentle care converged, a cinematic moment of quiet grace. The mother dog and pups now resting, exploring, and bonding, the fragile miracle of survival and recovery fully present, a testament to patience, attention, and the quiet power of human and animal connection. The room holding the promise of more days filled with trust, warmth, and the ongoing journey of nurturing life and love.